Welcome to another episode of Casual Cinephilia, where enthusiastic amateurs talk very passionately about movies. I'm Ian.
I'm Lorian, and today
we're talking about
cats.
This movie hurt me.
Yeah, this was a bad movie, guys. Don't see it.
Spoilers. But
okay.
What?
First things first, full disclosure. There are cats people and there are non-cats people. Just the musical straight up as it is. I am a no cats people. I do not like the stage show. I don't enjoy the music. I don't like shows that are not plot driven or character driven. This is not driven by anything, and I don't like that.
Right.
So that's just like when you have a perfectly reasonable stage show.
Right.
And then this shit happens. So when the trailer for Cats came out,
it made children cry.
The first thing that popped into my head, and this might be melodramatic, is, oh God, we've died years ago, and this is how the devil is letting us know we're in hell. It's so deep in the uncanny valley. And that's somehow not even the problem.
No, it's not. Like, if the movie had some semblance of a plot with characters that you could connect with, I could maybe forgive the Uncanny Valley. Like, I can watch Polar Express, which is Uncanny Valley, the movie.
Right.
But because it has a decent plot, decent music, and there's a point A that gets to the point B by the end, it's enjoyable. This movie felt like I was on drugs.
Yes.
And someone, not a cat, because there were no cats in this film, something was clawing at my eyes the entire film.
Here's one of my biggest criticisms of this movie.
Okay.
The only reason there ever is to see cats is the dancing.
Right.
And they decided to do Cats, and they decided to do it live action, and they did hire some of the best dancers in the world. They really did. But then they covered their entire bodies in digital fur technology. Yep. I hope you can hear the quotes and the italics in that.
Digital fur technology.
So when your eye sees these literal best dancers in the world doing their thing, your eye sees CG and associates not only the fur, but the movement as fake.
Which they also did fake movements as well.
Yes, they did. They slowed some leaps down, clearly. They sped some things up. But there are things they did not. Or that they didn't have to, at least. Like... Yeah. I can't make myself say the names of the cats. So the one that wore pants inexplicably and also tap shoes.
The train engineer cat.
Yes, I know his name. I just can't make myself say it.
The only fucking one that I could point out in a crowd because he wore fucking pants.
He wore pants. He is one of the lead principal dancers for the Royal Ballet.
Oh, shit.
He is a phenomenal dancer. Yeah. I have a recording that you're welcome to watch. I recommend you watch it. It would be so much less trippy than this movie. It's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, the notorious drug trip story.
Great.
But he plays the Mad Hatter, and they interpreted that through tap. So it's in a ballet, and the Mad Hatter taps. So I know he can tap at that insane level. I've seen it.
Yeah.
And it looked so fucking fake in this movie.
It did. Yeah. That was literally the only scene I enjoyed, was the tap dancing scene.
Yeah. It was better. I was still distracted by the fact that it, like, felt so fake, and I knew didn't need to be. It felt so fake that even though I know that these things could have been pulled off, aside obviously from like floating and shit, that I still am questioning whether or not they did actually digitally do things to his dancing.
Yeah, which, I don't know. It just, this movie hurt. It genuinely hurt.
Other things that hurt me about this movie. Rebel Wilson.
Uh-huh. And her freaky ass little, like, human face mice and cockroaches.
But also, specifically, Rebel Wilson made an acting choice. I have to assume this is her choice because she could have reported it to HR if it was the director's, where her cat thing was going to be to scratch her inner thighs. And they inexplicably have a shot in this movie where Rebel Wilson's lying on her back with both of her legs up in the air, and they have her hands down in her thighs, and they shoot over her shoulder.
Yep.
And it, boy, doesn't look like a cat rolling around on the ground.
Nope.
At all.
Nope.
What?
Yeah, there's also an artistic choice to have blessed Dame Judi Dench. Bless her soul, bless her heart. Like, do a stripper leg pop
Well,
while staring lustfully at Sir Ian McKellen. Like, it was a little.
That's the other thing about Cats, is that it's overtly sexual the entire time. No matter what medium it's in. Cats is a very sexualized show. Which is confusing, but must make furries very happy.
God. I don't even think this would please furries, though.
It was just so uncomfortable.
The thing that was really uncomfortable for me was they made a very clear choice to have no genitalia whatsoever. But they sure defined that ass crack.
Yes. Yes.
Like that is every character. Damn, that's an ass crack.
Cats are not supposed to have booty.
I'm just saying. Shit, son. There was some ass cracks. And there was I am all for creative choice and creative liberty when it comes to filmmaking, but the cinematographer put that camera in such awkward, compromising angles of these actors that person should be shot. Like,
wow.
Like, I'm sorry.
Ian's bringing out the firing squad for Cats.
Like, I just. You're, like, in the sentimental scene. You're like, okay, I think they're starting... Like, I think it's a sentimental scene.
Sure.
I could be wrong. You can't really tell.
Right.
With anything that's going on in that film.
Yes.
But
accurate.
The tone of the music, the tone of the singing, okay, this seems like it... This is a...
Well, it's based on a book of poetry by T.S. Eliot.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty...
ineffable. By the way, the magical Mr. Mistopheles was fucking stuck in my head.
Me too. I was sitting there happily yesterday talking to Jake about Star Wars. My cat wanders up and does something. And I said to the cat, "Why are you doing that?" And Jake said, "'Cause she's a magical cat." And I was like, no!
Damn it, Jacob! No!
Not magical cats!
Magical Mr. Mistopheles.
Oh, no,
fuck
never was it.
That scene went on way too long.
Oof, yep.
Like,
also, what the hell?
Well, you have to have a antagonist, and so Idris Elba goes and they poofs her away, but they get her back. What, 3 minutes later?
Yeah.
2 minutes too long of
right.
them saying magical Mistopheles.
Yeah.
and nothing happening.
Go.
Oh God! Don't elbow microphones.
I have actually seen this musical a few times.
Okay.
I still don't know what the fuck it's about. And that's not a comment on the quality of the productions I've seen. Mm-hmm. They were beautifully done. This musical just makes no goddamn sense. It's a heap of nonsense.
Yeah.
But according to the things that I have seen, they did change his character to be a little more nervous than traditional. So maybe it was a choice to drag the scene on that long for character development.
It's so fucking weird.
I don't.
And
He had a fancy jacket on, though.
he did have a fancy and a hat.
The thing is, some of the cats had clothing, some of them didn't, some of them had boobs, some of them didn't. There wasn't really any pattern to who had clothing or boobs. I didn't like any of it.
Yeah.
They also did a lot of work flattening bulges. Like, those cats were not Ken dolls, they were Barbie dolls.
Yeah.
And they worked hard to make sure of it.
There was, and I'm sure this is a Cats thing, not the movie thing, but there was a lot of arm and leg movement that was just so unnatural for a human being. Like, they'd have the, like, I don't even know.
The cat stuff.
Yeah, like.
That's a Cats thing.
That's a Cats thing.
I mean, it was
just so
re-choreographed
weird.
for this. I want to say it was good choreography, but I was honestly so distracted by the bodies that the dance was on that I have no idea. It was choreographed by Andy Blankenbuehler, who did Hamilton.
Okay.
So, very talented guy. I'm sure it was great. I could not see your choreography through the fur.
The thing that blows my mind.
This had the best team.
Like, you look at this on paper, and this is
everything
like,
about it
surefire.
makes sense except for the fact that it's cats that they chose to do.
Right. The best part of this movie was watching the Heights trailer.
Ooh, isn't that pretty?
That looks
I'm excited.
So good.
I thought the best part of this movie, and I have it written down in a note so I do not forget what it was. It says the best part of this movie was hearing Sir Ian McKellen say, meow, 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 meow. I also have notes that say, oh God, the mice are terrible too.
Yep.
And I hate this so much.
I would like to take this moment to read the Rotten Tomatoes, some of the Rotten Tomatoes reviews.
Oh, good. 17%. That's rather high.
Because they are some of the most beautiful
There are some
things.
really gorgeous pieces of poetry being written about this right now.
So this one's one of my favorites by Clarice Lowry, who's an independent critic in the
Great.
UK. It says, it's one of those rare cinematic events that feels like a collective hallucination, improbable and entirely indescribable.
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
I saw one that tickled my fancy. The entire review is, wow, Pornhub's going to be different next year.
oh, man. But if you're ever feeling low, just read some of the reviews for Cats. They are a new level of, like,